productive isn't about doing more. In fact, trying harder often makes us accomplish less. We wake up intending to do more, making mental lists of everything we need to get done. We Yet hours later, we still are endlessly scrolling on our phones, reorganizing our desk, and overthinking that one simple task until it feels impossible to do. Productivity isn't about cramming or punishing yourself with discipline. It's about shifting your mindset and building small habits that change how you approach your tasks. Today, I'm going to share 3 simple micro habits that will transform your productivity. Firstly, the do it now principle. Secondly, the minimizing distractions. And third, writing it down. These hacks will help you reclaim control and build momentum, making you feel on top of your day. Start with the first one, the do it now principle. Think of how many times you told yourself, I will do it later. Maybe it's replying to an email, folding the laundry, or sending the text you've been putting off. It seems harmless at the moment, but here's what you're doing. Every little delay you make creates mental clutter in your mental space. Tiny task you said you will get done, but you put off constantly lingers at the back of your mind, constantly begging you to get it done. And the more tabs open you have, the slower your mind runs. So the do it now principle essentially helps addressing this unnecessary mental clutter that you have in your brain and allows your mind to have more space to address important things. If something will take you less than 2 minutes, just do it now. Don't think about it, don't negotiate with yourself, and don't delay it. Do it now. What's so powerful about this principle? It allows you to get into flow state. Have you ever noticed how hard it is to start the first task of the day? But when you start one task, it automatically things naturally start to flow. This because action fuels flow. People will wait until they have the motivation to do a task, but this almost always results in not completing the task because motivation is never guaranteed. When you practice this do it now principle, you stop waiting for motivation and instead train yourself to act. Over time, watch how this rewires your brain to train yourself to stop being someone who avoids tasks and start being someone who immediately handles them and with ease. Give you an example. Let's take me. I absolutely hated studying. I would have this habit of leaving all my assignments and homework to the last minute. I'll tell myself I'll do it later when I feel like it. But of course, later came and the task became bigger and became more daunting, and I procrastinated even more. It was a constant cycle. Then I saw this classmate use the do it now principle. She literally did everything immediately, like she would not wait. And I decided to try it. If it takes me 2 minutes to write one paragraph, why not do it immediately? Within a week, I noticed a shift. And guess what this shift was? Using this principle made me realize I can be more efficient in my studies, and it removed the guilt of not completing the studies and my tasks. Because when you decide to act quickly, you free yourself from the guilt and the weight of procrastination. Now, of course, not every task can be done immediately. Something take hours, require more planning. But here, as soon as you're done with this planning and extra details, you can use the do it now principle. You can apply it, and instead of saying I will do it later, you can say what is the first small step I can take now and get to it. Maybe you don't have time to write the whole report right now. You can just simply open the document, jot down the title, jot down a few pointers of what you're going to write, and you will feel much better instead of keeping everything in your head. That first step, even if it's tiny, breaks the inertia and creates momentum. Once you're moving, it gets 10 times easier to keep going because I was consistently clearing the smaller tasks. Immediately, you build discipline, momentum, and reduce the mental friction that keeps you stuck at the starting line. This brings me to the second micro habit, minimizing distractions. If you think about it, our biggest productivity killer isn't the lack of discipline, it's the constant distractions we allow into our lives. Ask yourself, what keeps pulling me away from the task at hand? Notifications, random tabs open in our browsers, even the little voice in our head, can I just check Instagram for 1 minute? Every little distraction amounts to breaking your focus. Even if it's just for 1 second, these little micro delays add up, and by the end of the day, you're mentally exhausted. You haven't made any progress in your work. Show that it can take over 20 minutes to fully get back into the deep focus mode without facing after a single interruption. This means that if you're checking your phone every 5 minutes, it's basically constantly disrupting the pattern that could help you achieve true focus. This is because focus is the currency of productivity, and without it, you're just busy, not efficient. How do you minimize distractions? The first step is awareness of these distractions. Ask yourself, what are the top 3 things that are taking my attention away from the task at hand? For some of us, it might be our phone, some of us, it might be a messy desk, some of us, it might be loud roommates, sometimes even our racing thoughts that could affect us. Once you identify them, you can design systems to reduce them. For me, the biggest distraction was my phone. I'd sit down to work, 5 minutes in, I would be checking notifications, scrolling on TikTok, Instagram, replying to messages, and I felt like it was no big deal at first, but it was costing me hours of work that could be done. So I decided to leave my phone in another room, and that helped me stay focused. At first, I felt restless. I felt like I was missing something urgent. But within a few days, I noticed how deeper I started to concentrate and focus without my phone there. So don't rely on your willpower to fight these distractions, and design your environment so that the distractions are less accessible. Let me be honest, distractions are not just external, they're also internal. Here's where the third principle comes in: writing it down. Just write it down. This micro habit will seem so simple, but it's the most powerful productivity habit you ever would adopt. Because your mind is not meant to be a storage unit. Having too much information will clutter your brain and your mental space with unnecessary thoughts. When you try to keep everything in your head, your tasks, your deadlines, your grocery list, the thing you wanted to tell your friend, you're setting up yourself for failure and stress. Write it in a notebook or a planner, anything that helps you keep track of it. You reduce that mental weight. You create clarity for yourself. I remember I used to tell myself, I can remember everything in my head. And of course, I thought I could, but I rarely did. And I would miss deadlines, I would forget to run errands, and I was in a constant state of stress. Second, it creates accountability and helps you prioritize. A thought in your head is easy to ignore, but when you write it down, it becomes real. When everything stays in your head, it feels manageable because there's no visible reminder to remind you of the urgency to do the task. But when you write it down and you see 15 tasks staring back at you, you immediately think, what can I do to do these tasks? It's clear to you. First, you remind yourself that you cannot do everything at once. Second, tell yourself that you need to prioritize. Writing things down helps you decide what truly matters, what can be delegated, what can wait. True productivity does not come from doing more tasks at once, but doing the right things at the right time. So let's put this all together. Productivity is about shifting into micro habits and turning them into actions, making them easier and improving your focus. The do it now principle helps you kill procrastination before it starts and builds momentum in your day. Minimizing distractions protects your focus so you can tap into deep, meaningful work instead of living in a state of constant interruption from your distractions. And writing it down clears your mind, helps you prioritize, creates accountability, and gives you a system that you can trust. Combine them, you create a system where small tasks don't pile up and distractions don't derail you, and your priorities are crystal clear. You start living more intentionally, Even the bigger tasks seem easier to do because you have more energy to put your energy into those tasks, helping you moving forward with purpose. Next time you catch yourself thinking, I'll do it later, pause and ask yourself, what if I just did it now? Here's your homework for today. First, try the do it now principle for 24 hours. Even a small task that takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. Just do it and pay attention to how lighter you feel throughout the day. You will feel more accomplished too. Second, minimize distractions during your most important work block. Set aside maybe 4 hours, 3 hours, depending on how much your focus is right now, and put your phone in another room and turn off your notifications and see how deep your focus can go. Third, write everything down, tasks, reminders, everything. This will help you ease your brain and let it prioritize what is necessary and also prevent it from holding all the information in your brain. If this resonated with you, here's a challenge. Pick one principle that I've discussed so far: the do it now principle, minimizing distractions, or writing it down. Implement it today and let me know in the comments which one you chose. And if you found this valuable, hit that like button and subscribe so more people can learn about these 3 micro habits which are so essential for improving productivity. And don't forget to comment down below what you want to see next time. Bye.